Today, I'm going to tell you the story behind Is This It?, the debut album by The Strokes. This album wasn't just a hit, it changed the entire rock music scene. It brought back raw, stripped-down rock at a time when mainstream music was filled with overproduced pop and heavy nu metal. But how did this album come to be, and why is it still so important? Let's dive into it. The Strokes formed in New York City in 1998. The members, Julian Casablancas, Nick Valenci, Albert Hammond Jr., Nikolai Fraiture, and Fabrizio Moretti, were childhood friends who grew up in private schools but were drawn to the underground music scene of NYC. At the time, rock music had become polished and commercialized. The Strokes wanted to bring back the raw energy of 70s garage rock. Their influences included the Velvet Underground, the Ramones, and television, but they also wanted to create something fresh, something that felt modern but didn't follow the industry's rules. When they recorded Is This It?, they took a different approach. Instead of making their music sound clean and perfect, they embraced imperfection. They worked with producer Gordon Raphael in a small Manhattan studio, recording the album in just 6 weeks. One of the most unique choices they made was with the vocals. Julian Casablancas wanted his voice to sound rough and distorted, so he sang through a cheap Peavey practice amp, creating that signature lo-fi sound. The songs themselves were simple, but incredibly catchy. Casablancas' lyrics reflected youth, disillusionment, and the chaos of city life, things that a lot of young people could relate to. Tracks like Last Night and Hard to Explain were instant classics. Even the album's title, Is This It?, reflected a feeling of boredom and frustration, a kind of is this all life has to offer attitude. When the album was released in 2001, it immediately stood out. It sounded nothing like the polished rock or electronic music that dominated the charts. Instead, it felt raw, real, and rebellious. It kickstarted the garage rock revival, inspiring bands like Arctic Monkeys, The Killers, and Franz Ferdinand. Suddenly, indie rock was mainstream again. But the influence of Is This It wasn't just musical, it was cultural too. The Strokes had a look and attitude that defined early 2000s indie culture. Their messy hair, vintage jackets, and effortless coolness became iconic. Even today, over 20 years later, Is This It is considered one of the greatest albums of all time. It continues to inspire new generations of musicians and remains a perfect example of how a band with a vision can change music forever. So, what makes Is This It so special? It wasn't just another rock album, it was a statement. It proved that music didn't need to be polished or overproduced to be great. It was raw, real, and full of energy, and it brought rock back to its roots. This is why Is This It is more than just an album, it's a moment in history, a turning point in music that still resonates today. Thank you for listening.